Lavender is irresistible to bees. As soon as the plants start to flower, the bees start buzzing. From April to mid-July, these pollinators travel from plant to plant to gather the fragrant nectar from the flowers. The bees return to their hives where they transform this nectar into a uniquely flavored honey. But for more than a decade, bee colonies have been dying like never before. Today, it is certain that the pesticides used in agriculture are mainly responsible. Beekeepers are in complete agreement with the lavender producers. The focus must be on finding natural solutions to this problem.
Bees are a species under threat, and you can see proof of that all around the world. In the USA and in China, there are virtually no domestic bees left. This is linked to the use of certain pesticides from the neonicotinoid family. These chemicals have a direct effect on the bee's central nervous system, and they are no longer able to find their way back to their hives. So bees are dying in great numbers. Even whole colonies are being wiped out, and that is one of the reasons we cultivate organically.
The production of lavender honey is almost as big a business as the production of essential oils. The bees are as precious to Provence as the plants upon which they feed. By early July, the lavender flowers are mature. They have faded a little, and their color is a little less intense. The lavender is now bursting with essential oils, and its heady fragrance spreads across the countryside. It's time to harvest before the plant's aromas dissipate. For lavender farmers, it's a busy period. This is the reward for a whole year's work. But it's also a moment of stress because any changes in the weather could have dramatic consequences.
The harvest is a moment of stress. You live by the weather. You worry about rain, you worry about storms. You're even worried there might be a heat wave. The machine could break down, the distillery could break down, so it's 3 weeks of total stress. Hail is the biggest threat. Every evening there's a storm. We pray that there is no hail. If it hails, the harvest is ruined.
Hail breaks the stalks, which makes harvesting impossible, while rain fills the flowers with water and spoils the scent. Either phenomenon could wipe out an entire year of hard work.
The harvest takes 2 to 3 weeks and represents about 60% of our income. Is it okay? Is everything going well? How is it? There's quite a bit of falling out at the back there, Florent. Every time you turn, quite a lot falls out. We have a few problems in the mountains that don't affect them down on the plain. We have smaller fields and steeply sloping plots, so we can't use such high-tech machines as they can. You'd never get a harvester for 1 to 3 rows. You need a tractor with a 4-wheel drive that really holds its position.
The threat of the leafhopper is always there. Their neighbor has a field that's affected by dieback, which means Eliane and Florent's plants are threatened too.
I don't know whether to start at the bottom or at the top.
There's dieback in the field at the top.
Looks that way.
I need to ask Jean-Marie if he planted healthy plants. Because we told them to do that ages ago, and not to play fast and loose with plants bought from any old cellar somewhere.
It's funny how it happened so suddenly.
A little last year, a little this year. I'm worried.
There's actually lots of it this year.
I'm worried about ours, because if it's leafhopper...
We've got a few infected plants in here.
It's terrible. He said he had 3 fields that were fully infected, that he wasn't able to cut this year.
All that work for nothing.
Exactly.
Harvesting has also begun over on the Albion Plateau. To fight the dieback, Rudy Useglio has planted clonal lavender, a variety of fine lavender that is more resistant to the leafhopper. Unlike fine lavender, clonal lavender is produced by grafting, so the plants are all identical. It produces an essential oil with a very stable fragrance, whilst that of fine lavender is much less predictable. Here, there are no sloping fields, rather great flat swathes that allow him to use the latest mechanical harvesters.
We are highly mechanized here. We harvest 3 rows at a time with a picking speed of 1 hectare per hour. To give you some idea, 20 years ago, 2 men could cut 1 hectare per day. When you cut with a 3-row harvester, you follow the machine on one side with a special distillation container. This gets filled with the plant, and when it is full, you take it to the distillery. You put a lid on it, plug in the steam, and start distilling. So the process is very quick. What is picked in a day is distilled that same day.
On the other side of Mont Ventoux, in the part of the Drôme department that is in Provence, the harvest has remained more artisanal. This is land divided into small holdings, where the lavender often grows between the vines and truffle oaks. Harvesting here is still a family affair, and during the season, the young folk come to lend the older ones a hand. Every village has its own still and distills in its own way, either by hand or automated. It depends on the type of lavender being distilled, how much there is to process, and the desired quality of the output. Distillation is an essential stage in the long process from plant to perfume. It's a kind of fragrant alchemy during which the subtle scents of lavender grow concentrated and become more mature. The essential oil captures the most ethereal part of the plant, its perfume.